Yes, this is the 260. I'm Joe Walburn. I'm joined by the man they call the mayor of the 260, Dave Rickert. We got Matt Brumbaugh riding shotgun from Spiece. And guys, first of all, congratulations out to Mylan Graham. The 260 is proud of you, Mylan. Mylan committed this week, Dave, to the Ohio State University. He's going to be a Buckeye. And I think with the wide receiver coach over there, that's a great decision. And I'm happy for you, Mylan. And I'm so excited to see Mylan catch those passes in the shoe, Dave.
Wide receiver you.
Yeah, absolutely. Wide receiver you. And I also want to send a shout out to Kamari Juarez from Snyder. Kamari committed this week to Marion University. And Jonte Lambert, we call him John Boy, was the player of the year. Kamari could have very easily been the player of the year, but Marion got a steal. Congratulations to you, Kamari. I think that's a kid that can bounce up, Dave, after a couple of years, but just fantastic seeing Mylan, make that choice of Ohio State and Kamari making that choice of Marion.
Here's what's upsetting. Marion's making a big implant into the fort.
They are. Marion's getting a lot of our guys. Mikey Dye going down to Marion. So Marion's getting some ballers from the 260. But I'm telling you, keep an eye on Kamari. I think Kamari can play a couple of years there at Marion, bounce up guys. But just exciting to see the football players excel in the 260. And Matt, exciting times for Spiece. Last week we had Derek Eby on with the fitness and the nutrition from Hercules, and Derek was just awesome. So that was exciting, but a lot of exciting things at Spiece.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Derek coming on last week and getting his kick started with Hercules Nutrition, it was a great start and a great week for them to get rolling, and we're excited about their commitment to us. And the big thing right now is this week we've got a lot of open gyms going on. It's been it's been a pretty good turnout considering it's spring break week.
Yes.
And then you look at the upcoming events. I mean, we got that turf going, football camp coming. I mean, football camp, middle school football camp is coming up a week from Sunday. We also have the hitting clinics coming up a week from this Saturday.
Yeah.
And the turf is, again, I'm just going to tell you, if you're a team and you're in desperate need of a place to practice, especially that rain's coming, man, you need to get in here. It's got all that you need for a practice.
Yeah, so much. And also check it out, everybody. I want to send shouts out to Dave Rickert on the quarter zips.
Custom apparel,
baby. We're laying it down, looking good. So Sonar looks good in his quarter zip. Everybody's laying it down. And I tell you what, talking about laying it down, how about the UConn Huskies, man? Laying it down Monday night, winning the NCAA tournament. And first of all, guys, that had to be the greatest NCAA tournament I think I saw, man. I mean, so hats off to all the kids with the NC that played in that tournament. And how about UConn? I think UConn covered the point spread in every single matchup and just raced through the tournament. But Dave,
I was actually shocked how San Diego State kept it closer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I think San Diego State was so limited on offense. But Dave,
defensively,
have you seen a tournament that was ever that exciting?
No.
I thought that was one of the best ones we ever had.
But it goes, like I said, I think I talked about it last week, talking with Walter Jordan. He goes, if I can play 25 against 18-year-old kids,
sure.
He goes, we would have won a lot of national championships. And that's all this is about, all this, the pandemic, keeping everybody in the school.
And I think what's so exciting, Matt, is like anything can happen in the NCAA tournament. And speaking of that, my son and my stepson, we always take Thursday and Friday off of the first round. So they love it. There's nothing like playing hooky and going to the chicken wing restaurant and watching ball. But we had a little disagreement this year, guys, where we had a disagreement about whether a 16 seed could beat a number 1 seed. And I made a point to tell them that was not possible. It only happened once in 50 years. And somehow I got talked into a little bit of a wager. And my son says,
a big wager.
My son says, Dad, we all know you know football, but you don't know anything about basketball. A 16 seed can beat a 1. I said, Maxwell, it's not going to happen. It's not possible. Look at Kansas right now just running Howard off the court. So I got talked into a wager, and Dave, here comes Farley Dickerson. And not only did Dad have to eat his words, Dad lost the wager, and my son celebrated so much I finally had to tell him, stop talking trash or I will give you a 1099 for that money.
Very good.
Well, and the beauty of the tournament, like you said before, is you just never know who's going to – you got to come to play every game. And when you don't play – and it's matchups too. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have the right matchup in your bracket, you're in trouble because you're gonna be in for a dogfight. And Purdue found that out. A lot of the higher seeds. I mean, Arizona. I picked Arizona to win the whole thing, and yeah, that went out the window with the first afternoon. So again, the tournament was exciting, and now the off season now. Transfer portal's hot and heavy, and you're trying to load up to see who's going to be the next one up there. So
I think that's what makes it so exciting, and it's just I just thought it was so great. So many games came down to the end. I think I saw where they had all the final shots of games.
Yeah.
And I mean, the games were great, but we loved it. And then, of course, my son won.
Florida Atlantic game.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Florida Atlantic. That was incredible.
I didn't think the guy knew how much time he had. I thought he's going to run it. The clock's going to run out.
Yeah.
And
then he shoots.
And it's funny you mentioned that, Dave, because you know what, Matt, you can speak on this a little bit. How good are these kids? They always know when to get the shot off.
Yeah.
You never see a game. If you ever notice, you never see a game where a kid holds the ball too long and doesn't get the shot off at the end.
I really thought he was going to run out of time on that one.
Yeah, and then one of my pet peeves with this whole replay stuff is I mean you got to give these referees a lot of credit. I mean, dude. I mean, hey, we got to go over the screen. We got to go look at this. Hey, you called it right. Let's go. Keep moving on. I mean, it was beautiful. To see that shot, like you said, the guys, they know the time on the clock. They get it off usually, and that takes the pressure off the referees. So they did a great job.
I'd like to say Tuesday I got to go see Matt's old team play, Northrop against Carroll.
Ooh, that's a big one, isn't it?
Well, always has been. And Carroll wins 2-0, and it was a sound game all the way around.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna jump in there a little bit. The Twitterverse has been erupting this week with the debate on whether parents or actually coaches will make kids stay back to play on spring break, or whether they should let them go. And a lot of teams, it's the choice of the program. And here's what I'm going to say, and I hope you guys agree. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But do we let football players go on fall break? No. Do we let basketball players go on Christmas break?
No,
absolutely not. So here's my commentary on this: is that if you are going to dedicate yourself and try out for a baseball team, all right, you better damn well know that the consequences are going to be you're going to play during spring break.
Exactly.
And too many, and I get it. I mean, I know there's differing thoughts, but if you're making that commitment, you better know that at spring break, there's a lot of things that you can get done during spring break as a team. One, you're playing a lot of games.
And you're finally outside.
There's no distractions. You don't have school. You don't have your buddies hanging around in your ear. So that builds the team camaraderie part of things, because at the end, you're going to be hanging around each other for 7 days. And, I know that IHSA can make things a little bit difficult with the 8 practice. If you're off 8 days, you got to make those up four practices before you can play a game when you come back. And people have been able to find a way to get away around that, or not around it, but just do it the right way.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, again, it's about your team and the commitment. And I'll never, as long as I'm around, or if I'm coaching, if I get back into it again, the bottom line is you're playing on spring break.
Right.
And that's the love of the game, the love of the program, and the love of your teammates. And again, like I said, we don't let anybody else take time off during those breaks. So, hey, have at it. Come play ball. And, the good thing with Northrop right now, I mean, they got a game in Tuesday. They're playing again tonight. Well, hopefully they get 2 in on Saturday. They got, 4 of their 5 games for the weekend. And
that's my point. We've had a good spring, but usually you're inside all that time, and you finally get outside, time to, see the field.
And here was my philosophy on it: play the tough teams, because they're going to prepare you for what you need to go when you start conference coming back that following week. And I got a lot of pushback on, well, that's not fair that you've already got 6 games. And I'm like, oh, no, pal. I mean, at the bottom line is we set that schedule, we're playing, we get ready for conference, and then we got a little bit of time off in between, because we played our game.
And you can cover your rain days.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And to finish up on that, isn't that discipline?
Absolutely. 100% discipline in it. And that comes from how you set your program. And again, administrators are going to do their thing.
Sure.
And I get that. But For 50 years now at Northrop High School, there ain't been any teams that have taken the week off of spring break. They've played.
And Matt, to finish up once again on that,
Carroll does it.
I always wanted to play so bad. Like, I always wanted to play, and I always was kind of the kid that had to do everything right to be able to play. And so I think that's a big part of it. I want to be in your lineup.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be in your rotation. I want to stick around.
If it was me, I'd be putting a 2-week ban on him. You ain't playing.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and again, we offered up this week for some of the baseball teams. If it does get into a rain situation, come on over here and work out at Spiece. You know, it gives you a chance to come over in turf, get some ground balls and get some hitting in. And, you know, I think that's the purpose of this place, you know, with our baseball, with our turf, is that we have the opportunity to offer that up and give everybody a shot at continue their practices despite the weather. And, you know, it's been a pretty good week, though, for them to get out and play, which is great.
Year.
Yeah.
But it don't work that way.
Yeah, where can people find Spiece?
SpieceFitness.com. Go to, you know, our training camp, their tab. You can look at baseball, football, softball, also volleyball, and Randy's doing a tremendous job.
Yes.
You know, the volleyball's picking up. We've gained people every week, which is exciting because, you know, he knows his stuff. He's got them. The good thing about it is
his
it's
resume.
a developmental. Yeah, his resume is great, but he's a technician. I mean, they start from the ground up and doing the drills that are going to make them better people and are better players. And you know, it's exciting. It's starting to catch on, and we're hoping our other programs will get to that point.
Yeah, it's exciting, and the place is rocking tonight. It just feels like Spiece is alive out here tonight in the 260. And we talked about UConn's great run, Dave, and coming up next, how about the run of Indiana Tech all the way to the NAIA championship game? So we've got Blake Davidson from Indiana Tech, and we have the NAIA
Coach of the Year,
baby, and Ted Albert. So coming up next on the 260. Yes. This is the 260. I'm Joe Walbert. I'm joined by the man they call the mayor of the 260, Dave Rickert, and we are so excited to have Blake Davison of Indiana Tech. And Blake, what a great run to the championship game.
Thank you.
And man, so much pride for Indiana Tech and so much pride for you, brother. And welcome
job, man.
to the 260.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on. Definitely.
Well, Blake has a little title to his name, Mr. Runner-Up. How we going? We're going back to your Leo days. So, technically, once again, you guys had a great team in 20.
Yeah.
And you guys, tell about that when you guys were on the bus.
Well, we didn't get on the bus that year. We were getting ready to. I think we all met down.
19, you was getting on the bus, wasn't it?
19.
And then that's when you got told to get off.
Yep.
That was the COVID year where they canceled everything, huh?
Yeah, we got all our. We met in the library of the school, getting ready to go on, and we get the email, the calls, and called off. It just.
And that team was
couldn't
loaded too.
I couldn't imagine, because that was the year New Haven won the 4A sectional, and they were devastated when they were called off the bus.
Yeah.
And I just, playing all the years I did in sports, I couldn't imagine the emotions of that. What was that like?
It hurt. You feel bad, especially for the seniors.
Oh yeah.
Because
Oh my gosh.
that's how they get to go out. I mean, they don't get to fight to the last game, and it's devastating. When you hear that news, and it just season ends without any buzzer going off. It sucks.
And they were, like I said, they were as good as the state runner-up team.
Yeah, definitely, because you want every opportunity to be able to cash in on those high school years. They're so valuable. But go back to that Leo team your senior year. Talk a little bit about the starting five and who you played with, and the great run you had then, and what was that like, man? Just to roll through the high school tournament.
It special. That's the man. If I had to describe it.
Hey
in one
Ben,
word,
can you pull up the pictures, please?
It's
yeah, we got some great pictures here. Yeah.
It's crazy. You talk about the starting five. I mean,
Wow,
Right
look
there.
at that, brother. Look at that. Does that bring back memories?
Jeez. I mean,
By the way, these are courtesy of Michelle Groves.
Thank you, Michelle.
yeah.
Wanna-
Walking into that arena, you look up. That's the first time, really, any of us you get to play in something in that magnitude.
What was that like, that moment when you walked in the arena? Because you always fight to get to that moment. What was it
There
like,
they are.
man, when you guys walked in the arena? Look at that, man. That's when you got your. Isn't that when you guys got
Yep.
presented? Yeah.
Got the rings that
Got
night.
the rings there. Look at that, man. Wow.
I love those guys forever. I mean, anytime I see them, or I'll always keep in touch with them.
And look
That's
at that,
always-
man.
yeah.
There, got the mask on. That
Isn't
really
that's when
shows
you guys
the
were
goal.
in elementary school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Been to elementary school with him. I mean, what a great squad. It's crazy walking into that arena. It almost feels like the air down there. It's a little cold, dry down there.
Yeah, yeah.
You need some water, extra water, to catch your breath and get going.
So, talk about your starting five. I mean, where are they all at now? Are you guys constantly talking, playing on?
Yeah. So it was starting five: me, Aiden Rubel, DJ Allen,
Oh, yeah.
Zach Troyer, and Xavier Middleton. I think the only guy.
We're going to have to get DJ on.
Yeah, DJ's
Coming
at
up on
Rutgers.
football season.
DJ's blowing up at Rutgers. They're putting size on DJ.
Yeah, he's doing great.
He's
I love
doing
talking
great.
to him.
Don't be surprised if DJ plays some football on Sundays.
Right?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't believe it. His work ethic, even in high
Great
school,
family.
you'd see him. Even right after a game, he's pulling out Subway sandwiches, footlongs, and just eating them wherever. Film right after practice, before practice.
committed, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, his work ethic is crazy. He can go as far as he wants.
Well,
I
yours
really
is
do.
pretty good too.
I like to believe so.
Yeah. I mean, they was back in the gym. What was it, Tuesday night or Wednesday night?
Oh yeah, we back and going. We had our first open gym yesterday, just with the guys, and I mean,
They're losing 8 to 9 guys.
I know they are. I mean, you guys had some tremendous players.
oh yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt us, but we still got pieces. We still got pieces, and we're ready to. We know what it takes now.
Yeah, you've been there.
Yeah.
And hopefully get that tag off of you.
No, I'm trying.
So as you developed your game in high school, talk a little bit about playing with the Indy Heat and that experience and the guys you were around. And Blake, how did that prepare you, not only for the success at Leo, but allowed you to go on and play college basketball?
Definitely playing with Indy Heat. The moment you get in that gym, in that program, Mark Burks, they got a great staff with them, and you're going to get the best guys. You're going to play with the best guys, against the best guys. They're going to give you as much opportunity and support to get to that next level. And
he's a 4-year player for the Indy Heat.
I know you were. You excelled, but I got to ask you this. When you see the who's who that have played for the Indy Heat, and we've had Jamal Howell on twice and just blown away with his stories and his contacts, did you ever have a moment where you walked in the gym with the Indy Heat and you thought, okay, I can do this? Or did you have a moment where you were like, man, I'm a little nervous about this? Look at that guy. Look at that guy.
Definitely. I can, one moment I'll definitely remember. I'm not sure what year it was, but it was before the UIBL team, before they were heading to Peach Jam, and it was the team with Nigel Pack on it. And we came in one of the days, I think it was the week before, we came, helped them scrimmage, practice one day, and you just look around, and I think I'm guarding Nigel Pack one day, and I'm
no
like,
kidding.
Wow.
No kidding.
He's
How's that, man?
torching me here and there, and
But
shake his hand.
And
go
Nigel
on.
just played, for those out there listening and watching, Miami University in the Final Four. So what is it like to step back and think, man, I had to check Nigel Pack in the summer?
It's really cool. There's a lot of guys in Indy Heat playing college ball and really excelling.
We've had Jamal on twice now, and it's just like Joe says, it's a who's who.
It's impressive.
Pick your boys. They got Caleb First, Nigel Pack, John L. Davis. They got a bunch of guys. Luke Goody, all them.
Yeah, John L. Davis, man, what a run he had. Dave
Fletcher.
was talking about Florida Atlantic, Fletcher, Luke Goody. We can't wait to see Luke play the full season healthy next year. I'm so excited about Luke, but wow, I mean, man, you talk about competing, man. Who was
on your team?
Yeah, who was on your team with the Indy Heat?
I had a couple more local guys. Kamani Smith, who plays at Rio Grande now.
Yeah.
Landon Jordan he goes in Huntington now.
Okay.
Sure.
A lot of good ball players that come through there. It really is. I mean, they know how to get the right people and
get guys ready. Okay, now, who was the one that just blew you away with the Indy Heat? When you got on the court, was there any guy that you were just like, wow?
Teammate-wise,
and guys you competed against?
Teammate-wise, I would definitely say sometimes, I don't know if you guys remember Nayland Thompson.
Yes.
He went to Lures.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you give the ball to him, put the ball in his hands, and you just let him go to work. He was a great player. Great player.
I played high school football with his daddy, so he was, Nayland Jr. is a great player. So Nayland really stuck out. Anybody else in the summer circuit with Indy Heat that just really left an impression on you?
Well, it's hard to beat Nigel Pack.
I was going to say, Nigel Pack's a great name.
It is. It really is. And I got to throw Caleb First in there.
I've
competed against him since second, third grade, and throughout the years. It's awesome to see how much better we all get and continue to compete against each other every weekend, it seemed here,
So one of our new followers is his girlfriend. What's your girlfriend's first name?
Avery.
Avery, her mom was a couple years older than me at Northrop. So I've known Dee Dee for years.
Wow, that's great.
So,
well, shouts out to Avery.
Of course.
What's it mean to you to come through and play at the Leo program? I'm going to blow you away for a second. My grandfather was Gaylord Conrad.
That's
he was
right.
the 1942 County Basketball Player of the Year, and it was for Leo.
Really?
Yeah, so he was so much Leo pride in the program, and he always talked about Leo basketball. So many great years of Leo. What did it mean to you to play for Leo?
It meant a lot. I mean, you could see it the moment we leave on the bus for that state trip, and even regionals.
That was I got chills watching that video.
The whole town comes out and cheering you on, and
it's like watching Hoosiers when they did that video, with the caravan.
Oh man, that
give you chills.
That gives you chills. To me, that's high school basketball.
That's what it's about.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
The whole community. I know myself and every guy on the team. We've never seen nothing like that.
No, I told him, they're going to be legends forever.
Absolutely,
at Leo. Even though it's runner-up, they made it to the state championship game, and 20, 40 years from now, he walks in that school, and they're going to be still legends.
Yeah, you'll be remembered for that forever.
The whole team.
And to finish up on that, on the state championship run, what was the one moment that you really hold dear in that state championship? Was there a game you guys won, or a moment you had to battle back at halftime, or what was that moment, man, that when you kind of lay your head down at night with high school basketball that you think about?
You just said it, coming back from halftime. Got to go back to a semi-state game when we were down 16 at half to South Bend St. Joe.
Wow.
And to do that, I mean, the locker room after and the bus ride, it's
magical.
It's amped. And
well, that goes to your final game of the NAIA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it was like 9 minutes. You guys were down.
Yeah.
I told my wife, I was like, they're not going to. And then with 2 minutes ago, you're down by 2.
Keep fighting. You just got to keep fighting.
You guys were down 20 plus, weren't you, in that game? I think at one point. Yeah, you're down 20. They were actually down 23 in the final at one point.
Yes. And, I mean, what was that comeback like?
It was great. I mean, man, we
the shots had to be dropping.
Kicked ourselves in the first half.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't get it going. We didn't come out how we wanted to, but as we'd been doing in that tournament, it seemed like, and all year, second half, we just keep fighting. And
what was the locker room like at halftime? What was that like? A lot of cussing.
You could say that. I mean, get your head right.
And you guys did.
This isn't something to
go
out on like this, especially in the last game, championship game, televised. You can't
make that run,
make that impression like that, blown out by 30, and you take it to heart.
Well, you had just come back from 16 down the semifinal, so you guys were kind of like cardiac kids. We were keeping track of the scores and watching the games and everything, and you guys battled back from that. But what a great run! But what was the moment this year where you felt like with Tech that you guys? Was there a moment where you felt like, hey man, we're coming together? We got a good team. We can make a run.
Well, let's back up to October.
Yeah.
Well, did you see something special in this team?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even the first weekend of play, we played over in Spring Arbor, second game of the year. We hadn't beaten, I don't even know the last time Indiana Tech had beaten
Spring Arbor.
No, Indiana Wesleyan, actually. We played a little round robin there.
Sure.
We got them the second game of the year, and we knew we had them. We played them again, I think it was end of December, at their place. Sure enough, we got them again, so that's obviously a decorated program.
Right.
To get them twice in 1 year, you got to realize you got something special at that point, right?
And rolling through conference, 18-2 in conference, that had to give you guys a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it definitely did. Some of those games, even you may not be coming in with a ton of energy, but you got to find a way, regardless, on the road, at home, day games, night games.
Yeah. And that shows the caliber of squad you had. One guy can't be showing up every night.
We had
each guy has to step up.
So many guys stepping up. We got, I think, what we end with four players in double digits. So that just shows you got at least 4 guys who can give you 20 at any given night. And I know we got guys on the bench on the bench coming off that can really spark it up too.
So you got your brother on the team, and the Dwanger kid, what's his name?
Lucas Lehrman.
Yep. So we got 3 kids.
Big kid.
Yeah. What's awesome for the 260/Fort, we got 3 kids on that team. That's a great thing for the city.
Oh yeah. I even remember my freshman year at Leo playing with my brother, and we played Dwanger where Lehrman went, and he almost broke a rim at our place. He dunked all over us and leaves that gym. So to be playing with him, seeing him being on the other side now, he's dunking on other people on the same team as me. It's awesome.
Right. So
was it a big transition from high school to play at Tech? You averaged, 11 points this year? I mean, you've had a great season. Was it a big transition?
Big transition for sure. Speed of play, obviously shot clock. I wish there would be one in high school too.
Oh, it's
oh well.
In the championship game this year, there has to get a shot clock in this state. It's
I
terrible.
agree. They need to put the shot clock in.
That is terrible.
I agree.
But transitioning, obviously a lot more speed, strength, athleticism, because you're getting the best guys out there, and you just finding your pace of play is probably one of the key things that
now, when you
helped
say
me.
pace of play, break that down a little bit.
Right. So high school, it seemed, it's just whoever's getting to this spot fastest and driving as fast as you can, making this move. But a lot of college, it seems, you got to use your body, keep people on your hip, slow it down, and then maybe one move fast, one slow. Just a lot of change of speeds, change of movements.
Fascinating.
And then you got to realize everyone's more athletic, so you got to be more wary of where you're dribbling into, passing, taking shots, a lot of that stuff.
How many shots? I mean, I know you guys are just starting back up, but come summertime, how many shots will you put up a day?
Goal is, like my coach said, goal is 2,500 a week.
Wow, that's what I figured you were going to say.
That's the commitment. That's a great question. 2,500 shots, but then how do you manage?
They were saying Edie was putting up 300 free throws this past summer.
Wow!
And then obviously it worked for him because he was a heck of a free throw shooter.
Wow, it's really
2,500 shots.
Wow!
Got to get on that gun, get in the weight room, sharpen up all the skills. It's only up from here, right? It's the only way you can go.
When you were a kid, what was the moment that you just fell in love with basketball?
Oh, probably in here. Probably starting here in Spiece.
That's why I
Father, brother, two brothers coming here at least every weekend for these little Sunday leagues or tournament in the summer. But we would always come in here. This was definitely the spot.
This was probably like home to you.
Oh yeah, it's great coming back here and all the memories here, shooting, playing hundreds of games here. But definitely with
how many
my
times How many times did your dad make you run lines?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's just after shooting here, you might as well take a couple suicides, sprints, whatever.
That's right,
a
couple suicides.
Before we get to our rapid fire,
one more question. Look in that camera and speak to all the kids that are playing high school basketball now. You're a kid who had a tremendous high school career. You're averaging 12 points a game for a great program with Indiana Tech. Look in that camera and tell those high school kids right now what it takes to be successful in college.
A lot of hard work.
Because they don't know.
You know that you got to come together as a team. It really is a lot about the chemistry and how you assimilate with your team and come together. But it's I'll tell you what, it doesn't. You don't make it in practice. Practice is the key to a lot of game time things and sets and all that, but the magic really comes in the gym afterwards, at night, in the morning.
On your own.
You got to get your individual
when no one's
work
looking.
in. Yeah, because the coach, he can't make shots for you, so you got to keep having that work ethic, and if you really want it, you got to work hard every day.
Fantastic. We got a couple rapid fire questions for you. What are you watching now on Netflix? I don't know how much Netflix you're watching. If you got to get 2,500 shots up a week.
Is there any TV you're watching?
I know. Can you? If you do have time in between those 2,500 shots, what are you watching on Netflix?
I tell you what, I just finished a show called Queen's Gambit. It's a pretty good show. I don't know how old it is, but it's pretty cool. It's like I don't think it might be based off a true story, but it's about some girl growing up playing chess and going onto the world stage.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool.
So you recommend it?
Yeah, actually I do. I was recommended by a friend. I wasn't really sure if I should watch it, but I got hooked into it and I finished that up.
What's your favorite restaurant in town?
Probably BJ's Brew House. You can't go wrong with that.
Okay. What is your favorite Mexican in town?
Mexican. It might be that place out southwest. I think Tequila. Tequila, I think that's what it's called out
Yeah,
southwest.
it's a new place. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
The old Banditos.
Really good.
it's a new place. Yeah, that place
Really
is.
good
Yeah,
recently.
really. Yeah,
Yeah.
that place is kind of taken off. Okay, when you're working out, shooting, or lifting, what are you listening to?
What am I listening to? It ranges. It definitely ranges. Most of it is probably hip hop because you're working out. You want
Wanna
to
move,
get
moving,
get going. But there's always I like throwing in some soul now and then.
A little bit of
For
soul
sure.
music.
Yeah.
I love it.
My dad always brings back. He'll, if you listen to the radio, he'll bring on the XM, the Groove, or something like that. So you're getting
That's
throwback
great.
to.
The Groove.
Yep.
I bet Dave, you're riding down the road listening to the Groove on XM, aren't you?
No. I do. I do love my soul though.
Yeah, the soul's great.
I listen
man.
to 104.
Yeah.
0.6.
Yeah, good stuff.
My
What's your-
question.
I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
My question to you: high school, college, you got great moments. What is the greatest moment in your playing career?
Greatest moment.
Personal.
It's hard not to put a game winner in at semi-state, but it's really the thing I'll 100% remember the most is
Oh, that's when you came off the side.
yeah.
Yes,
That's
good.
that's tough.
That
to
was
top,
clutch.
Man.
It
That
is-
was clutch, man.
But as a team moment, it's hard to top even after losing state tournament.
Yeah.
That championship in that locker room after that showed me the care and
Brotherly
the family
love.
brotherhood I may never have that again, and it was special. That group of guys was special.
That's why high school's so special.
And you're a special player. And the name Blake Davison will always be spoken with pride in the 260. Whether
Legendary.
it was for the great years of the Leo Lions or now just laying down that
Keeping it
game
going.
with Indiana Tech.
I appreciate
it's
it.
a pleasure
Really
having
do.
you on,
Thank
brother.
you.
260 is
Thank you very
proud of
much.
you. And Indiana Tech is proud of Blake. And speaking of Indiana Tech, coming up next, say it with me, Dave, the NAIA Coach of the Year. Yep,
And
Ted,
he- big boy.
big boy. Yep, Ted Albert up next on the 260. Yes, this is the 260. I'm Joe Walburn. I'm joined by the man they call the mayor of the 260, Dave Rickert, and we're just rolling through the 260, laying down great content. Just had Blake Davison.
Another great guest.
Another great guest. Just that's the kind of kid you want as your son. Just so impressive, well-spoken, done so well.
Great parents.
And now we're going to talk a little bit of coaching with the great Matt Brumbaugh, and I'm proud to present the Don Meyer Award winner, the NAIA Coach of the Year, and we are so lucky to have him in the 260 with Indiana Tech, the great Ted Albert. Congratulations, Ted, on the Coach of the Year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know about the great, but I appreciate that.
Well, what you guys did, you're great.
After a run like that, Ted, and I tell you what, Ted, talk a little bit about this group this year, and tell us, too, when it kind of you really had that feeling this is a special group, because that was a special run. And some of those wins in that NAIA tournament, you guys really had to dig down and battle back.
And, I mean, that's a testament to the type of group we had, to be honest with you. You know, we had been through some adversities in their earlier years, and just a group that continued to battle. You know, playing hard and asking them to give me everything they had was never an issue with this group. And so once they started to figure out how to put all of it together, it made things pretty easy for me. I won't lie about that one. But
so when you're in the recruiting process of this current squad you had, did you see great leadership in a lot of these kids?
Oh, early on, especially. You know, this was my first full group. So when I took over,
you're taking over,
inherited a couple others.
Troubles.
Yep, and not only, I mean, we had great kids before as well, but I took over in June, so you know we're starting in August, and so it kind of gave me a whole year to get that first class together, and thankfully we made a few good choices. So
yes, you did.
And Matt, you can speak to this too, but Ted, how difficult is it now? Because you've got so many kids kind of transferring in and kids coming and going. It just seems like now you have to really do a lot more blending of players and teams, and it feels like you have to really coach and teach on the run to blend it all together.
Yeah, especially with that transfer portal. It's gotten pretty crazy, and you know, the thing about the portal is there are so many different reasons why kids enter. Not everybody's in the same group, and I'd rather, on some token, build with 4-year kids, you know, build that foundation. But the way that the landscape is gone, even looking at the Final Four, how many transfers were on a lot of those rosters.
Real quick.
It's amazing when you watch these teams play how much the teams change. And it feels like with basketball, Ted, you really got to be able to play together and know each other's game. But it seems like every year, even the major programs, it just seems like the roster, the changeover is so drastic.
It's incredible, especially being able to put that puzzle together as quickly as they do, finding that chemistry, which, you know, the group that we just had, the chemistry that we had was built from the past and continued to you know, evolve and
build.
Putting together that quickly is can go really well or can go really poorly.
So Matt, main reason I wanted you on here, Matt was assistant coach at Indiana Tech baseball.
Yes, very decorated.
But he coached the World Series. I want to know the correlation between the week preparation and keeping the kids together, keeping them focused. So go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, well, the main thing, just like Coach said, is that you got to have a good group of kids that understand what your philosophy is and how you're going to go about your business. We had great kids. I mean, it was unbelievable the time, effort that was involved to get us to that point. And when you have a group of guys and you're getting ready to play, I mean, baseball's a little bit different. You have your scouting reports on teams and this and that, but at the end of the day, you still got to go out there, throw it. You got to hit it. You got to catch it. And we caught getting hot at the right time, obviously. But we were steady throughout the year. We knew our disciplines. We had our disciplines. We knew exactly what we were going to get out of every pitcher. I mean, we had guys. I mean, Kenny Fisher pitched in the World Series. I think 3 or 4 times he started within a week.
Wow.
And I can always remember this story. I was going after we won the semifinal game, and we're getting ready to go in the championship. Kenny had pitched on Friday, and I'm going up to do the press conference, and one of the coaches goes, who you throwing tomorrow? I go, who the hell you think I'm throwing? Are you kidding me? And they go, you can't throw him again. I said, if I go to that room and tell him he's not going to throw, I'm going to end up being thrown out of a window of a hotel room.
Right.
So I mean, but again, it comes down to how you prepare. Same thing. You got to have a great group of kids and stay focused on the main goal, which was always winning the national championship.
And like you said, your team was steady in wins all the way through. You guys were very good in the conference.
18-2.
Yeah, 18-2 in conference. This is the group. I mean, you go back and look at their careers. We had a hard time getting over that 9, 10, 11 game win streak.
Sure.
So they, especially that last one at home in the conference tournament, I knew that this group was going to respond in a positive way. But I would say, just to piggyback off that a little bit, the accountability that this group had, player-led accountability, where I didn't have to monitor and do all of those things for them.
Sure, they're coaching themselves.
It was, I mean, that's
You've
why I
always said that, man.
So.
When a team coaches itself,
that's why you
win.
develop your older guys to get to that point where they can let it rip and police
Absolutely.
everything, and you're just going in and pulling the strings and getting the strategies put together.
You both coached in national championship games
for the same school.
Was it hard as a coach not to kind of get sped up? Because I would have probably been bouncing off the walls. I mean, how did you, because obviously your kids are going to feed off you, Ted and Matt. How did you guys kind of stay level and not get so sped up with the excitement of a great season?
Well, I'll take it first. I think with me, I got put in a tough spot right away.
Sure you did.
Coach Hirschberger got hit with a line drive that week. Didn't know if he was going to be able to travel, and unfortunately he was not. He ended up with blood clot and couldn't take the chance of going down. So I was flying down to Tulsa. They bust down. I had my job. I had to fly down, and
sure.
Right before I got on there, I was talking to him on the phone, and he goes, "You got a speech tonight for the banquet." And I was like,
wow.
Whoa, man. I'm on the plane trying to first thing I said was, we're the team without a coach. I kind of spilled off. But, yeah, I think for me, in my roles with the team, being kind of the bench coach and being in a spot where I did a lot of scouting, and that was my job.
Yeah.
I always just tried to keep it simple with the guys when it came to my philosophies on stuff. It was like, guys, it's a ball game. We're not going to go out there and we're just playing another team. That's kind of how we went about it. We had a routine every day. We're, team meeting. It was funny because we'd always have our team meeting after. I can't think of the guy's name, Jerry Springer. Yeah, Jerry Springer. You could hear the hotel room, and you could hear our clowns going, Jerry. I'm like, well, we'll wait until 11 o'clock to have the meeting. But we always had a meeting every day.
Sure.
And then we go to the ballpark, and we just, we gave them the scouting report before, and then we just go at it. And, we had, again, when it comes down to leadership, though, I mean, Mark Baker was our leader behind the plate, catcher. Came from Chico State. He was a national champion there.
Hey, Ben, can you pull up Indiana Tech's pictures, please?
Yeah, and
Chico State, huh?
Chico State D2. He was a national champion catcher.
Wow.
And they let him go.
Really?
And,
wow.
So back to what Matt was saying. What was you doing with your team during the week, during the day?
I'll be honest, it was a blur, but didn't sleep a whole lot. Thankfully, I have really good assistant coaches that really help with that scouting report.
Was the wife and kids with you or not?
Wife and daughter were with me. Thankfully, my parents were there. My father-in-law was there.
Good.
My sister was there, so
Family
they could
affair.
help. Yeah, they could help a little bit. But shoot, when we played Tuesday, Wednesday, got Thursday off, played Friday, Saturday. So those scouting reports without a day break.
Tough.
You gotta figure them out quick. So thankfully we had, all hands on deck with my assistants, and they do a really good job of of breaking a lot of that down, but also in a language that I speak, because everybody approaches things a little differently. And not only that, but how our guys, kind of ingest that and then are able to apply it. So it was a blur, but you know what? It was kind of just always like on to the next step. There wasn't really much time to think about the last one or even celebrate it or be thankful for it. We were already moving on to that next one.
I would agree. You don't. It is a blur. I mean, you just kind of you're playing. You're in that mode, and then it's on to the next one. I agree 100%.
Yep.
Would you say championship game the greatest coaching you ever did in your life?
Well, we were down
23.
Yeah, so I hope
come back from that.
I hope not.
Okay, it might have been your worst coaching in the first
The
half.
second half was your best coaching.
Yeah, that's just the resiliency of the group that we had.
That's why we was talking with Blake. We was like, "What's going on at halftime?"
I mean, I'll be honest. It was, obviously, I would say that I was a little displeased with some of the effort. Maybe not effort, maybe focus. That's probably a better way to put it. But right before the
Did you
halftime,
pull a Zach Eady and go through the whiteboard?
No, I didn't. I didn't. But again, just because we had an older group, my trust and our staff's trust that we had in our guys, it never wavered. And I think
awesome.
that's a testament to who they were as a group. And over time, we talk about, trust is a feeling. It's not something you can give someone else. So it's something you have to build over time, and that's where, we trusted these guys, and we were going to go out one way or the other. So it was up to them to lay it all out, and they certainly did. So,
with the coaching for you guys, for you and Matt, how much did it help being a decorated player? I mean, you, Ted, you had 12 letters in high school.
That's unheard of.
It's unbelievable. And I got to say, I'm a football guy, man.
Yeah.
Bro, you ran for over 4,000 yards and 45 touchdowns. And so I got to ask, man, before you get to
It's
that.
the football mentality in these coaching.
yeah, I love
Why basketball for you and not football? Because if I'm not mistaken, you were the player of the year in football.
Yeah, we had, again, those stats may be a little slighted because we did run the wing T. So I got
4,000 yards.
4,000
Hey,
yards,
4,000 yards is 4,000 yards, brother.
And 45 touchdowns.
And we were a football school. Still kind of are, I guess I should say, but
Sure.
Football, the prevalence in Michigan it's a football state, certainly. So, I honestly, being able to play a little over 3 years on varsity football probably helped some of those stats. And
Sure.
Were you a fast kid?
no, I wouldn't consider myself a fast one. No,
You just ran hard
you
between
just-
the holes,
You just wanted to
didn't
lay,
you?
Yeah.
lay some wood down.
Tell him, Ted, you just ran hard between the holes. But you know what, though, Ted? Talk about, and you and Matt, too, how much did it help you just to be a player that played all the different sports? You were a decorated college basketball player. How much did that really help you, kind of catapult you into coaching?
Well, certainly we love dual athletes. We love guys that play more than one sport. And, at some of the bigger schools nowadays, it's a lot more difficult to do. But we love tough kids. And I think football teaches you something that no other sport can. And certainly those lessons. So, I think that basketball was just always my true love. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. Actually, Gus Macker, the 3-on-3 Gus Macker, actually originated in my hometown. So I grew up playing 3-on-3, and that bully ball style of basketball, and that's probably more suited for my game, especially nowadays where I can't guard this table anymore. So the less I have to move, the better. So
Tell the people out there, what is your hometown?
I'm from Belding, Michigan.
And that's just outside Grand Rapids, right?
Yep.
Grand Rapids.
Yep.
The western part of the state. Beautiful area up
Another
there.
thing, in Michigan, my nephew and now his son, wrestling is a big deal up there. And he was a big-time wrestler, but he had to make a choice.
I don't know about big time. You guys are being nice, but I got to that. I got to the point to where once you get into middle school and high school, you got to kind of make a choice because they're at the same time. So, my dad was a really good wrestler and was a catcher, so you know that he was just a tough guy. And one of those things where I had to make that choice, and thankfully I'm sitting here now, so I think I might have made the right one.
What position do you play in baseball?
I played first.
Really?
Yep, first base. First, and depending on how wild I was that day, third. Sometimes I pitched. I mean, if it was a game where I was the type of pitcher that I was either going to strike out or walk you, and sometimes it resulted in a lot of walks. So
So hitting wise,
I batted fourth, and
you had to do something, right? Because you was all conference your junior to senior year.
yep, and I played. I was lucky. Even my 8th grade year, got to go on the spring trip with our varsity team, and
Wow.
Didn't play. Obviously, it's not Kentucky. You don't get like 7 or 8 years of eligibility in high school. So
Exactly.
but just kind of learning, how things were done, and that approach, I think, was certainly a big time experience for me. And both my parents are coaches, were coaches.
So it's in the blood.
It's 100% in our blood, no doubt about it. They're not anymore because they're at all of our games. So
Were they
they're
coaches in your high school, or?
Yes. Yep.
Well, so
Yep.
your dad.
My dad coached. He started out as an assistant on the football team. In '94 and '97, we won state championships in football, and then went on to coach women's softball. And then my mom was a volleyball coach at our high school, and was a really good volleyball player as well. My sister played volleyball in college, so just one of those things. That's what I grew up shooting at
nothing
volleyball.
else.
Yeah, I mean, I was on the side hoop shooting with a volleyball. That's kind of how I started to fall in love with the game of basketball. So, and my dad's only like 5'10", so I'm by far the tallest in our family. So at my size, not a great wrestler.
How did you pick Cornerstone?
You know what? I grew up. So my pastor growing up did a lot of the kind of devotions in the morning, and in Grand Rapids at that particular time, that was the basketball camp to go to. A lot of the top talent in the Grand Rapids area, almost like now you have all these elite camps.
Yeah.
That was kind of the elite camp.
Sure.
So I went to camp there for 5 or 6 years straight with a lot of my friends and a lot of the guys I played AAU with that were also really good players, and just fell in love with the campus and the area, and obviously, the Christian background was really important to me. And
Sure.
Coach E is still there and has won a lot of games there. So I wanted to win. We didn't win a whole lot of games in my basketball career in high school, so I wanted to go somewhere and be a part of something bigger than just me, and the winning part was really important as well.
Very good.
How'd you make your way to Indiana Tech?
Well, it's a great question. Honestly, it just kind of all happened, certainly divinely led. I'm not naive enough to think that I got here on my own. So went from my playing career to an assistant coach at Cornerstone, was the head JV coach there for a few years, and really just kind of fell in love with the recruiting and the scouting and kind of everything that goes into it. And, thankfully we won a national championship my senior year at Cornerstone. And then
Yes.
we won another one when I was an assistant in 2015. And then we were runner-up the very next year. And then, Jesse Biggs, who's our women's coach and our athletic director, reached out to me after I'd applied. And thankfully she and the committee chose me. So
It was a
Great
great
choice.
choice. Great
yeah,
choice.
I'm thankful for it.
Matt, with the coaching that you and Ted have done, how important is it to have the support of your family?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, they're the backbone. I mean, my wife is doesn't miss very many games. When I was coaching at Indiana Tech, she did. We were on the road a lot, and when you have 2 young kids, and
Sure.
the thing that was always tough for me was I missed a lot of birthday parties. I mean, my daughters were born on the same day, 2 years apart, in the
Wow.
middle of spring. That's probably not a good thing if you're a baseball coach. My youngest daughter, Kendall, would always, you didn't even know me for the first 5-6 years of my life. And I go, no, I probably didn't, because that's just the way it was. But just the support was huge. I mean, they, when I went on to coach at Northrop, I mean, they were involved in everything from concession stand to the team party to just, the Facebook page, whatever
golf
it was.
outing, they do a lot of work.
Golf outing, yeah. I mean, it was everything, and it means the world to me because it allowed me to do what I loved, and that's coaching. And so to have that support, you got to have it. I mean, I President Andorfer back in 1998. I think it was 98 or maybe 2000. He said, "Do you want me to fly your family out here since you're?" I said, "No. Hey, I'm the head coach," and they understood. And they were fine at home. I was doing my thing, and when I got home, it was nice to be dad again. But then, and Ted would say the same thing. I mean, as a college coach, it's a full year job. I mean, baseball, we had 1 month off and that was it. We weren't allowed on the road to recruit. I mean, I can remember times of coming back from the World Series, getting off a plane and getting off a bus and heading right to a ballpark to scout. So,
wow,
to recruit. And, that's just the life of a college coach.
And Ted, you're getting to that point right now with AAU getting ready.
It's already here. The longer you play into the year, the quicker it comes. So I'm thankful for that, certainly. But, just alluding to the family support, my wife is the ultimate coach's wife. She gets it. She understands. She knows what she signed up for, but,
sure.
She certainly supports me. And we have a 15-month-old little girl at home, and I'll tell you, it makes coming home after a loss a little bit easier when you see that little one. So
I was telling my wife watching the games, you see the coaches' wives, they're wearing every play on their,
Oh yeah,
they're right there.
They do.
Coaches.
They live it.
Does.
I mean, they live it. I mean, I mean,
they're making
they're
the meals for the kids.
Yeah, they're what they've done is invested in what they call their sons.
Yeah.
Now they have, depending on the size of the team, it's their sons now.
Yes.
They take it on, and they take a lot of pride on it. And, my wife's a school teacher. She'll go in and, what we did was I kind of flipped the script and helped her out in the classroom is I took all my guys over to her classroom to read to the kids. And I was big, and I wanted
community
to do that
outreach.
stuff. Yeah, and it was great because the kids, they loved it. I mean, those little kids looked up at them,
back.
and then all of a sudden they're writing good luck notes and this and that. It's a pretty cool situation.
Yeah.
Now, you guys both had tremendous accomplishments and tremendous athletic moments as players. Does it compare as a coach, or what's that feeling, Ted? I mean, Ted, you were a tremendously decorated athlete, but what's it feel, those moments as a coach?
It's different. It's almost hard to describe because, I still remember when we won it and just the emotion that takes over your body. Now it's a little different, and now we didn't win the very last one, but the ride that I was on, with these guys in our program, it's really hard to, I'm just now starting to get far enough away from it to be able to take that step back and really understand what our young men accomplished and how you have to be playing well at the right time. You got to have a little bit of magic, and finding all of those pieces at the same time is pretty incredible. So
yeah, I'll jump in there too. The 1998 team that was a runner-up team, as a coach, you're so invested in the game that you don't even think about it until 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road with these guys, and what they meant to you as not only players but young men and what they became. And we were inducted probably about 6 years ago into the Indiana Tech Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And
in my first year.
And
Congratulations, man.
And it's the thing that was cool about it is that almost every player was there. And our baseball club had guys from California, guys from New York, guys from Ohio. I mean, they were all, Colorado. They're from all over the place. They are brothers for life.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to be able to do that and hang out with those guys for a weekend. That's, I think, when you realize what you accomplished.
Sure.
I really believe that because, I was lucky. I got to go to 5 more World Series, but you're hoping that time you know, you don't think about it during that time. But now that, you know, again, we've had those accomplishments and those inductions, and, you know, I still talk to those guys on a regular basis now, and it's really cool to text or call.
I can attest to that. I mean, they are a close group.
I mean, all out or get out. That was our motto. That was on
fantastic.
the back of our T-shirts, and I tell you what, they were all about it. I mean,
I love it.
They were a bunch of guys. You know, you talk about that transfer portal and stuff. Here's a good story. So, Coach, at the end of the fall, we didn't have a very good fall. We were not very good, and Coach goes, "I'm hitting the recruiting trail right now," and he brought us in Mark Baker, who was the catcher, Rick Jansen, who was first baseman, Jamie Harper played center field, and Danny McFadden played a little bit of left, a little bit of infield. He said,
Great names.
And you know what? They came in and they changed the whole culture because of how hard-nosed they were. They came from D2s and JUCOs, and
Yeah.
they were. And what it did is it solidified our season because we knew going forward the guy behind the plate was the best leader that I've ever coached.
Wow, that's quite a
and
statement.
I knew it, and I knew you could just see the feel and the change of the dynamics of the team from the end of the fall to where we were, you know, starting out the season. We came out, we were okay, but we knew we were building because we had to get that pitching staff rolling, and once we did, man, we got hot and it was on.
Man, I don't know if you heard, but his first year was when you guys got inducted.
That's what I heard.
That was my first Hall of Fame banquet.
Yeah, and it was
That's pretty crazy. We got
That's
the-
great, man.
I can tell
How
you
about
right-
the ties?
Hey, I can
Dave
tell
was
you right-
working
yeah.
magic,
Hey.
bringing you guys on together.
I can tell you a lot. There was a lot of adult beverages drank that night in that bank, but I can tell you that because we had a blast. Again, it comes down to that brotherhood, and that's the cool thing about coaching when it's all said and done. You're so wrapped up in the moment, but again, these guys come back and, hey, coach, how you doing? And, you know, calling for advice or, you know,
Sure.
all that stuff. It's just that's what makes the profession. It is what, you know, that rewarding.
and
So when will he be? This team be inducted? What's the process like?
Well, I don't know what the process is because to be honest with you, the 99 team went in before the 98 team because they put up ungodly numbers and were like
Wow.
50. I think we won 56, almost 60 games.
So it's not a year, not a certain year.
No, I think there's a little bit of a wait period, but
10 years,
Yeah,
I believe.
yeah. So
It's 10 years.
Yeah,
I believe.
I mean,
Could
it's a process. He'll get there. Trust
Yes.
me. They
I
ain't
think
gonna
he-
keep them guys
I
out.
think he's going to have a lot more.
Yeah.
I think he is.
Yeah.
And Ted, hearing Matt beautifully describe the relationships with past players, is that your purpose? I mean, here you are coaching college basketball and all the success, the great run in the tournament this year, but you're forming relationships and you're building great young men. Is that the purpose that you found, Ted?
Oh, definitely. I think that's the part that I enjoy the most. I myself and my staff want to create. So I remember what it felt like as a player to be in those situations. And listen, half my wedding party were guys that I played at Cornerstone with. So
Sure.
those relationships and those bonds that you build, especially on the floor through those different types of adversity, you can't get those anywhere else. And so once you've gone through that together, and, you know, like I alluded to earlier, that trust, you know, is true and firm. I want to give our guys the same experience and the same feelings and
That you had.
the same relationships that I had and I still have. And I think down the road, like you said, Coach, they'll really understand the magnitude of the love and respect that they have for one another, and never goes away.
No, it doesn't. It's a process. You know, like you said, the reward of being in coaching is this now. I mean, I'm out, and I get to talk to those guys. You know, even the high school guys that I've coached in the past. You know, I have a golf outing every year to support the Staff Ready Scholarship, and those guys come back, and it's a fun day because I can jab at them a little bit, and they can jab at me too.
Now they can
because
jab back.
I'm not the one in charge anymore, so it's a lot of fun to have that back and forth with those guys and just enjoy the day. But again, I did it for 32 years as a coach, and you know, every kid at the end of the day,
32 years, brother.
at the end of the day, I loved every one of those kids, whether they knew it or not, and I think we came back, reciprocated the same thing, and you know, it's I get the itch every once in a while. Maybe, get out back out.
It never
there.
goes away.
No,
Hey,
and
are
it
you,
may.
Are you
It may
in need
happen.
of an assistant
No,
basketball?
my
Because
first.
he was a heck of a basketball player.
My
at
first
Northwood.
coaching job was a basketball coach at Northwood Middle School.
You're kidding me. I always think of you
I
with
was
baseball.
I was a sixth grade middle school basketball coach for about 6 weeks, and I really loved it because they were kind of the comedy squad. Go down there, and you're the JV. And I told the head coach, I said, we'll be ready to play here soon, pal. And we did. So I enjoyed that. But, yeah, my basketball roots of, playing it and coaching it a little bit. But baseball, obviously, is number one. I've enjoyed it the whole time.
Final question before we get to rapid fire. The mayor over here, Dave Rickert, says, whatever you do in life, you always do with passion. The passion you both have had for Indiana Tech. And what does Indiana Tech, I'll start with you first, Matt. What does Indiana Tech mean to you?
Well, for me, first, it was an opportunity because I did not get a head coaching job and went there to be an assistant coach and was welcomed with open arms. Dan Klein was the AD there at the time, President Don Andorfer, great men, and gave me the opportunity to not only dip into the college game, but make me feel like part of the family right away. And during that stretch that I was there, President Andorfer brought back that program. He was one. He said, hey, we're going to reinstitute it. Lance Hirschberg did a hell of a job making that program what it is. He built it from the ground up. And it was always nice that President Andorfer would come by and go, hey, you see those bleachers going up? And I said, yes, sir, I did. And he goes, what do you think about them? I said, pretty nice little setup. From what we had was just a backstop, a fence,
And
and
that's one of the
some
most-
bleachers.
most beautiful
We won.
fields there is.
We won our first regional there, our sub regional. We had a backstop, a table back there with the scoreboard, and then all of a sudden now, if you see the facility now, I mean they've even upgraded
absolutely
more.
gorgeous.
But the scene, the lights, just the whole facility, the indoor facility. I mean, when I first went there, we practiced in that old building where the field house is now, but there was nothing there. It was an old classroom, so we're banging ball off of our tennis balls off the desk.
Wow.
That's all we had in there. So then when we came back in from spring or for Christmas break, here we have finally some cages, some turf, and it was on. It was great. So I owe a lot of great memories, great relationships, to what I had at Indiana Tech. It was great. It was a great fit for me, and in return, what they gave me was unbelievable.
Coach?
I mean, I would say the same. My first head coaching opportunity, I hadn't had a whole lot on my resume other than an assistant for a few years and a player a few years before that. Coming from a successful program certainly helped, but that opportunity, Indiana Tech will always hold a special place in my heart regardless. And, we love it here. We love Fort Wayne. My wife and I are growing our family here. And
Best place to live.
And certainly have come accustomed to, the Hoosier lifestyle. And, when it comes to the passion part, I think that, my wife and my family will tell me I turn into a different person on game day.
Yes.
So I'm probably a little more reserved outside of that. And then once that ball goes up in the air, those competitive juices come flowing out. So
Matt was talking about the golf outing he does for Northern Stab Ready. Do you guys have any golf outings? What can you do to help support?
You know what? We are, this year we will. So a few years ago, we got incredible amount of rain, and crazy part about Indiana is it doesn't have anywhere to go. It just sits on top.
Know that all too well from Take Care of Fields.
It's just wild.
Yeah.
So
It is.
It got canceled because of the rain, and then of course COVID hit, and we just haven't jumped that back up. But we will be getting a lot of our basketball camps and our golf outing going again this summer. So
Let us know. We'll get it promoted for you. 'Cause we'd
That'd
like
be
to
great.
participate.
And
that'd be
that's
great.
what the 260 is all about. It's about supporting the community, and Dave and I are big on that. And now we're going to get to this rapid fire, and I want to send a shout out to Sonar's wife, Crystal, who joined us tonight, and she's the brains behind the rapid fire. But we like it because it kind of gives us a little bit more of an idea of the personalities. And we'll start first with you, Coach, before we get to Matt. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
Ooh, good one. Man, you know what? My wife and I finish TV shows pretty quickly. We're both night owls and morning birds. I would say, I forget the name of. My wife gets to pick them all.
Oh,
So,
of course. Well, that's good.
Agent something. I can't even remember the name
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Something agent. That tells you how much TV I watch, though.
How about you, Matt? What you watching on Netflix?
Well, I've watched it about 3 times, but Peaky Blinders
Best
is
show
definitely
ever.
number
best
one.
best show.
That is-
best
Number one,
show.
Peaky Blinders.
Finally, somebody answers it correct.
And number,
Sonar.
and number
That is a
two,
good one.
and number 2 is Cobra Kai. Man, I got to go back to the days, man. I mean,
Look at that. You got his wife on.
how can you not like Daniel-san and Johnny just going
He got
at
me
it?
on that
Man, I
this
love
summer.
it.
Did he?
and
Yeah,
my wife,
Dave.
we was just nonstop.
Cobra
Well,
Kai.
Dave always says, if you want to learn about the deep state and the New World Order, Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders.
Peaky
is one.
Blinders is a good one.
1913.
Absolutely.
That's one of my favorites,
What's
too.
your favorite restaurant in the fort?
Ooh, my wife and I, honestly, the first one we came to in Fort Wayne was Baker Street, so that's probably one of my favorite
Okay.
spots. That or Cork and Cleaver. Those are
Yeah,
my
Cork
two.
and Cleaver.
Cork and
Yeah,
Cleaver,
that salad
very
bar
good.
is amazing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Mexican?
Cebollas.
Okay.
Yep.
Man, you're putting me on the spot. I got to say, Brevin's up in Cherubusco.
I see you.
That's my guy.
That
So
is his favorite
that's,
restaurant.
That's my restaurant. That's my guy Kevin. Mexican wise, I know you're going to want me to say Azteca.
Correct answer.
And
Correct answer.
but Lalo's is pretty good over there on
Your first answer was correct.
Yeah, no, Lalo's pretty good too.
Well, that was your first one.
Ted, do you have a chance? And if so, where do you go to recharge? I mean, such an intense season, a great season.
He was down to the Final Four. He hasn't even had a chance.
I know. So that's the question.
He just got back yesterday.
Well,
How do you recharge, and where do you go?
well, if it warms up, the golf course would be a great place to recharge, but
That's next week.
we're not
We're
quite
getting
there
good
yet.
weather next week.
Honestly, just enjoying time with my family, being able to
Sure.
stay home a little bit more.
Hey, you said, what is your favorite golf course in town?
Ooh, we live right next to Chestnut, so I do like Chestnut, but Autumn Ridge is probably one of my favorite spots.
Matt's had outings out there.
Yeah, Autumn's one of my favorite spots. I love the layout there.
How about you, Matt? How do you recharge? I don't know if I've ever seen Matt Brumball not working, but how do you recharge?
I go out back on my deck with a glass of tequila and grill out.
He's a big griller.
I love to.
You love to grill, huh?
I love to grill it. I love to grill it out.
What do you? Okay, if I come to Matt Brumball's place and you're going to grill for me, what's
the go-to?
What's the go-to?
Cajun shrimp.
Woo! Let's go, Cajun shrimp.
Cajun shrimp all day
I
long.
see you.
Got to do it. About a half glass of tequila and a little bit of country music out there, and we're good to go.
That was my next question. What are you listening to?
Well,
so you're
no,
listening
no,
to
no,
country.
No. So
No?
I'm a little bit of everything, but
Are you?
I like the new country, but hey, I'm a Motley Crue Van Halen guy. Man. I am right.
You hear
out,
that, Sonar?
right, I'm right out of it.
By the way, he got me onto that show, too.
Oh yeah,
That's fantastic, man. How about you, Coach?
You know, I like just about everything, to be
you?
honest with you. With what I have to listen to in the locker room,
Yeah.
I would say anything but that, to be honest with you.
Right.
Anything but
love
whatever
it. I love
whatever they're listening to,
Great
anything
answer.
but that.
Yeah.
What would you say, Coach, and your numbers are unreal, what is your greatest personal achievement in sports?
Ooh. Well, I mean, it has to be personal.
Personal.
I mean, I'll tell you, there's nothing like climbing up that ladder to cut down a net, knowing you won your last game of your career. I would say that's why I went there and was able to be a part of that. I don't think anything could possibly trump that.
Even your high school?
No way. I'll take that over whatever those numbers say all day. I'll tell you, there's no feeling like that. It can't be replicated. Outside of getting married and having a child, I would say that that feeling is incredible.
I can't argue with you about rushing for over 4,000 yards in high school football under the lights of Michigan.
It's somewhere around 4,000, but
Man, what is yours?
Personal accomplishment, I would have to say when I was at Huntington, I had the all-time games played record. That meant more to me. That meant more to me than any other things. And I had success. I was, all conference, all district, and that. But to play, the amount of games day in, day out, year in, year out for 4 years.
Injuries.
Coach Coach actually took my uniform away from me in Florida because it was just a scrimmage game. I was like, no. What are you doing? You're taking my uniform away. He goes, you're not playing today. I said, I don't know what to do without a uniform. He goes, well, you better figure it out. So he gave me the day off, but that's the only time I think I had a day off in 4 years, and that always meant more to me because of what it meant to me as being a team player and being out there every day and supporting the team. So yeah,
that's without a COVID year too. So
yeah,
that's without that 5th year.
Yeah.
Last question, and I'll start with you, Matt. Then, Coach, I want you to wrap it up. Who was the youth coach, Matt, growing up that made the difference for you?
Dal Ramsey was pretty. He was kind of the guy.
That's a great name.
He was my basketball coach at Powell basketball, and the guy was so influential in the way, just how he molded you to be a man at a young age, and I love that. He wasn't afraid to come at you a little bit.
He was Bobby Knight for Powell.
And then we're like 12 years old, and he came up to me. He's got us on the bench at a timeout, and he goes, Brumbaugh, you don't start shooting the ball, we ain't winning this game. I said, if I got green light, it's on, buddy. I made sure we won that game. But he was very influential. He just
good man.
He was great. Obviously a police officer here in Fort Wayne, and gave back to the community in every single way he could possible. So yeah, Big Dal.
Ted?
Mine is Coach Mike Nelson. So actually it's kind of odd how it worked out. He coached us in my age group in middle school, moved up from 7th to 8th, and then he ended up taking over our varsity program and was originally a women's coach at Rockford High School, which is a larger school in the West Michigan area. And I mean, just the amount of respect that I have for him and how he treated us and the level of expectation, I think that's where I really started to understand how you do anything is how you do everything. My assistant will love that I said that on here, but that's where I probably first initially got the itch and the love, and he certainly instilled a lot of those foundational values that go into being successful in life and basketball.
Beautiful, and I tell you what, it's been an honor. It's Easter weekend, and it's just been an honor to hear you guys speak how much the kids mean to you that played for you, how much Indiana Tech means to you guys, and
to the city.
And to the city, and just the pride of the 260, Dave.
You think how Indiana Tech has taken that area and just made it beautiful.
Oh, for sure.
Just made it beautiful, and it just feels like a really focal point of that area down there, Jeff.
It wasn't that way when I was growing up.
No, it wasn't. And I tell you what, it's an honor again with the 260, Dave. We got some people to thank. And before you thank some people, Dave, I want to tell everybody, remember, you can find us at YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, at the 260. That's an O, Coach. We have no zeros in the 260, so that's the 260. And Dave, we got some great people to thank on Easter weekend.
Well, first off, I'd like to thank all our guests that we've had. This is our 5th week. Another stellar 2 guests. Thank you, Matt, for helping. Really appreciate it. We're the whole month of April is booked, and that's pretty amazing. After we just started 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago now. So I want to thank Sonar, my wife,
Charlotte,
Matt, you, especially you, Joe, Denise. Thank you, Denise, for all the work you do. And once again, I hope everybody has a great Easter. Joe is going to be coming over to my dad's house for Easter, break bread.
Yes. And I tell you what, it's an honor, and it's great to give back to our community. It's great to have men like you in the community, and I couldn't be any happier with the way we've launched the show, the 260, Dave. And thank you, Sonar, again. And remember, everybody, we are the 260. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.